Guys, it's Gus, and yesterday I posted a video on a single target Crown of Keldegonn build for HRs. That build used an augment companion. This build's going to be different. It's going to use a striking companion, and there's actually not a lot of changes, but some of the changes are actually kind of expensive. So if you noticed, um, everything on the front page is exactly the same. Again, you can use Vistani set, or you can use music box set or demo set. I just prefer the Vistani set because the group it contributes more to the group's burn than your own damage. And then but what's good is if you are on the demo set or another set that has a debuff artifact, then you'd run 3 times journals. If not, just run 2 high level artifacts. And for this build, it's a bug on PS4. It's not the Wasteland Wanderers. It's the Neverwinter Standard and the Demogorgon's Reach. And then the debuff artifact, I just have Vanguard's Banner. You can use any other debuff artifact. If you're hosting, you get a pick. If you're not hosting, you're going to have to do what the leader tells you to do. Garister's Horns, again. Bone Devil's Ribcage, again. Spike Defenders, MC Weapons. Um, I will put an asterisk next to there. There's a very good theory going around that I first heard from the Xbox players, and I completely think it's true, but I haven't proved it yet, and I don't know if they have either. That actually the Watcher set is gonna actually do more damage for the group. The issue is those only give 5% defense, while these give 10% damage mitigation. But I have a feeling once we start getting very familiar with the trial, that 10% may not be as necessary. Wasteland Wanderers, the new shirt that gives 5% combat advantage. Pick the one that gives crit strike and accuracy. There's only one that has 2 offensive stats. You can go with the War Torn pants. You can go with the Velvet pants, or you can go with the 1500 item level from the T3 or the mini boss and hardcore boss, the second one. I'm using this one just because I like the movement speed added on. And then, of course, every build's going to have these 2 rings, the Band of Air and the Red Eye Stare. What's good about the 10% damage is you don't need the legendary. There's actually a +3 ring that gives it. Or you can use, there was one that you can actually buy in the auction house. It's I believe it's the Assassin, and it's Epic, and uh, Killer. Maybe it's Killer. Yeah. Yeah, look at that. I mean, oh, those went up. Those were 10,000 last week. Okay, so those give 10%. The difference is that they have 500 less item level. So up to you. It's a pain. It was the very last ring I got, even after the Band of Air and all that nonsense. The other noticeable difference is I had to replace accuracy with crit strike. And then we're gonna go, and I had to change some enhancements around. I'm now using 3 combat advantage, and then the fourth one is crit severity, and the rest stays the same. The forte and all defense, and the companion or the 15% movement speed, and then the old bio, which is now called Poison Thorn. You're gonna want to use Devil's Precision. The Rage of Flames is questionable. You can use that. You can use the Devil Slayer Overload +1 to +2 report not to work, or the Dragon Slayer +2 that gives 10% against dragons. I'll probably use this in phase 1, and then in the last when we use the what are they called? The things that let us go from island to island, grappling hooks. I'll probably switch to the Dragon Overload. Power's still the same as yesterday. You're gonna want to use Crushing Roots, and if you're only HR in the group, you're gonna use Aspect of the Pack. Don't be greedy. Fast burn equals faster completion, which means you can farm more. You can use Disruptive Shot or Slasher's Mark. I'll be using Slasher's Mark. If I was using Music Box, then I would use the Disruptive Shot. Uh, if you do the Slashers during the Artifact Call, it does so much damage. And I know more than Disruptive, we get 10% added on. from this daily for 5 seconds, but we have so much additive damage right now that I don't think that's as effective as I believe Slasher's Mark is. I might be wrong. If I am, please let me know below. You're still going to use hindering, uh, constricting, and if you're the only HR, you will be using commanding shot. If not, replace commanding shot with long striders. You're still going to use aim shot as your primary at will, and you're going to use split shot to as you're actually going to use this at will more often because of the mobs. Has a nice AoE attack, and you also use it to proc the Vistani set. The boons, the only real differences with the boons is you're going to want to put the 5 points in the necrotic mastery that does 5% against, well, 1% times 5 against undead, which is basically the entire fight. And I believe it works on mobs too. You're going to want to use movement speed, and if you start dying, then switch over to revive sickness. For this particular build, I'm using power. If you have accuracy, if you have crit severity, you can just build around it. It's not too hard to build around it. And then for companions, this changed. In the last build, I had Wolfgar and Dritz, but you can't do that because in order to use a striker build, you have to have Raptor's instincts. You can go without it; it just won't be an effective build. It might be on par with Augment. I believe that striker is best in slot, but I have yet to prove it. It's my theory, and I'm not the only one who thinks the same. But the when you have everybody's in the group, you're getting 18.5% stats. So those stats help make up for the 21,000 or 22,500 stats you're losing from having an augment. It actually makes up almost completely for that shortfall. So everybody has to use that. So if you're using this and you're sticking with Minsk and Bitiri, then you can't use Wolfgar and Dritz. So I went with the Black Dragon for the crit strike and the Golden Cat, the Mythic Cat for the combat advantage. Of course, Pseudo is going to be Drummond. Summon. I'm really wondering though if Regis would be better for the trial and the mob phases. I don't know. It's a toss up. When we find out more testing, so we'll see. But Pseudo Dragon does pretty good damage, especially when you have 2-time Warlords and the +5 companion gear. You know, this guy right here that does 150% more damage. So in order to make these stats work, I had to use the Living Tree Grimoire, the Glistening Talisman, and the Forest Lady's Icon. And these are all crit strike, combat advantage, crit severity, combat advantage, and crit severity. For the companion bonuses, um, what's good about this build is, here's the theory, and I think it's very true, is you can put on the Neverwinter Knight if you're using the Watcher set and still have higher stats than we have right now with the MC weapons. Uh, More to follow, but since we're just starting the trial tomorrow on console, we'll see how much the MC weapons are, the mitigations needed. And then for mounts, 2 Assassin's Covenants, 1 Gladiator's Guile. Ugh, that hurts. I want the second one, and 2 Warlord's Inspiration. But you can't sacrifice the Warlord's Inspiration. You need 2 of those. The third one I think is bugged. I haven't checked, but I didn't see in the patch notes where they fixed it. But if that is fixed, I'll put that out. So you got to have 2 Warlords. You need at least 1 Assassin. The second one will give you 2,000 more offensive stats. So we could sacrifice the 2,000 offensive stats for another 5% movement speed, but I'm hoping I can do it with just the 1 Gladiator's Guile. And then the colors are the same. The practical gold gang gives, well, I think all the practicals give us 1,000 item level. And then the unified, the movement speed gives us 1,000 item level. Uh, and then the supportive only gives 500 item level, but I don't care about outgoing healing, but I love that extra 1,000 item level. Sorry, not 1,000 item level, 1,000 combined rating. And then the crit severity and the encounter. The we're gonna use ferocity. Yes, I know that 4,500 stats would be great, but again, that procs the band of air, and it gives you a little bit more damage. Tunnel vision, or unless your hoster has you use something else, don't worry if they have you use something else. Just use it, carry on, be grateful you're in a group. Hosting is the biggest headache in the world. The people who host are gems and do not make their life hard, is my recommendation. Oh, in the insignia bonuses, insignias is all skill and aggression, all the way down the list. The reason being is I didn't cover the stats. The power, you're going to be capped on power because you're going to get 15% more power from the other people running Raptors. Plus, you're going to get 2,250 or 2250 from the runic ore. So you'll be capped on power. Accuracy is going to be a little low, 62%. Combat advantage, you're going to be capped. The reason being is you're going to get 5% from these boots. You're going to get 7.5% from acute senses. So there's 12.5%. You're going to get 10%. So 12.5 would put us at 79.9, but you're going to get 10% more from tutor and aspect of the pack that the HR is running. So you're going to be 89.9, which is really good. Crit severity, you're going to get another 12.5%. So that's going to put you at 86.1. Crit strike, you're going to get another 22.5% from the grease throws and the rib cage. So that will put you at 86.6. So these are going to be 86 percentile, 90, 90, 62%, which isn't bad at all. It's the only difference between this and the striker build is that you're losing a little bit of accuracy, and I'm very certain. Well, I'm betting on it anyways that the pseudo dragon does more damage than that little bit of accuracy you're losing. And then also the race, I'm going with the Mel Menzo Baranzan. The Drow is great, but if I wasn't using those two, I would definitely be using the Metallic Dragonborn. Actually, for this, I don't need the power, so I would probably go um, Wood Elf for the crit strike. Or actually, I could go Drow as well. I prefer Drow for the 2 extra strength you get. And then I would just take off the cat and put it in more into crit strike and crit severity. So if you're not using a support class, class like the Drow or the Male Menzo Baranzan Renegade, you're going to be capped because you'll be at almost 90 in the 4 categories, 62 in the accuracy, and then also I'm losing 3,200 stats. The reason being is I'm sorry, 2,600 stats. Is the Claw Bahamut. I have 3 of these equipped instead of the normal overloads that give 880 stats. I have it on the head, the chest, and the feet. So yeah, this would be capped if I didn't have those dragon overloads, and if I wasn't a support class, a support race, we'd be capped in for the 5 stats, which I think capping is slightly overrated. You really got to focus on your gears first, because if that was the case, Bandit Air would be garbage, right? This ring would be garbage because they don't really give stats; they give damage, and most of the time, damage is going to outdo the stats. All right. If you got any questions, comments below, please say so below because we're all learning right now. Stay classy, Neverwinter. See you soon.